HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, look, I created a world in the Gemara Masechet Brachot, page 32b. Says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created an extraordinary world. Beautiful world. You have trees, you have oceans, you have rocks, you have all types of animals, everything has different colors. All of that is for us. It's not for him. If it was just for him to create something, he could have made everything gray. Imagine everything is gray in the world, or everything had the same taste. It would be such a boring world. So Hashem made all these beautiful colors and beautiful tastes and beautiful visuals in the world for us. And the Gemara says he created 1,0,6,4,3,4,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0,0, 12 zeros. Number of stars in the world. In the whole universe. For what? For you. For you. Why? He wants you to enjoy them. You look at the stars. Wow, how many stars? I don't know. Let's count today. Count till next year. You're still never going to get to the end. Point is, he created a lot of beauty for you. He created a world with beautiful taste for you. But he says there's only one rule to all of this. Everything that's material in the world, you have to find a way to connect to me through this tool. Food is allowed. There's forbidden food, there's permissible food. Technically, any taste that you want is allowed. But there's certain food that's not allowed. So one of the women, the wives of the tzaddikim in the Gemara says, wait, I want to have, it says in the Torah that everything's available to us, I want to have something that tastes like pork, like bacon. But I'm not allowed to have bacon, I'm not allowed to have pig. So what am I going to do? So it's missing? Rabbi Meir says, our husband says, no. Our husband was Rabbi Meir Balanis. He says, no, nothing's missing. So how can I get pork? How can I get bacon? He says, there's a fish called shibuta. In Africa, we're going to get that fish. Once we cook it, it tastes exactly like bacon. There's also, by the way, today even, there is a duck in Japan. They grow them in Japan. A specific type of duck. You cook it, it tastes exactly like bacon. Same concept goes for a lot of things. Let's say somebody says, I want to taste cheeseburger, meaning the taste of meat and milk at the same time. Now you can't have it. Today you have soy. But before we had soy, how do we do it? Eat the part of the cow that carries the milk. The meat of the cow that carries the milk tastes like milk and meat together. All types of beautiful things. Hashem says, I create a lot of things, and everything is permissible, but there's a way for it to be permissible. Your wife is permissible, but there's a certain time she's allowed. The tools are permissible, but there's certain times that they're allowed. Why? Because everything has to be pure. If it's pure, it can connect to me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If it's not pure, it connects to the Satan, the one that's trying to get you away from me. So when you take something that Hashem gave you, for example, a plate, how are you going to connect a plate to Hashem? What are you going to throw it at him? Hey, Hashem, catch! What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Hashem says, take it to the mikveh. Take this plate, dip it into water that came from heaven. Not just any water. Don't just throw it into some bucket with water in it. It has to be specific water that went into a specific place undisturbed. Meaning it cannot go into a place and then some pipes and machines push it into some pool. That's not a mikveh. A mikveh has to be where the water comes undisturbed into this pool, with no influence, no one's pushing it to it. So it has to be heavenly water. Why? Because that is pure. How do you purify the tool? With this mikveh. Same thing with a woman. A woman has a time of the month where she becomes impure. This is specifically in order to improve the marriage. Now, to show you an example of how significant it is for a woman to be pure, your grandparents, what are you guys, Ashkenazim, Sfaradim? Sfaradim? Ashkenazim or Sfaradi? Sfaradi? Your grandparents were willing to sacrifice their life mamash, not to violate nida, not to violate the mitzvah of touching his own wife if she's nida. For example, there's a story Ravi again says one Ashkenazi that was born and raised in Russia, religious Jew, which was uncommon to begin with, came to the yeshiva of the Rabbi again and told him a story. He says, you know, you guys have it good here. Good. He goes, well, there's poverty everywhere. What? He goes, you don't know what poverty is. You don't know what poverty is. He goes, no, tell me. He says, in my country, in Russia, we were born. Over there, it's colder than Canada. In Canada, when I went there, literally 1 minute, it was nice outside. Within literally 5 to 7 minutes, it became 15 to 20 degrees under zero when I went there to Montreal. Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. He says in Russia, it's worse. Shem Yerachem, like 1 second you're okay, next second, if you don't go inside, that's it, you're finished. Unbelievable. He says in Russia, it's worse. The water freezes. He says in Russia, you weren't allowed to be religious. You weren't allowed to build a mikveh. So how could you be with your wife and with Hashem at the same time? He says, I had to take my wife to the lake, the frozen lake. The frozen lake, Rabotai, make a hole in the frozen lake at night. Make a hole in the frozen lake at night so my wife can dip into the frozen water that's 40 degrees under zero. Why? So I could touch her finger. Do you understand when you think about this? Me and you, we're saying, you know what? No mikveh, no marriage, nothing. Just leave me alone. Why? Because we're weak. We're weak. We're saying, you're going to go to... I'm just thinking about cold, I get cold. She's dipping in water 40 degrees under zero. Why? So her husband doesn't touch her while she's impure. That's how important Taharat Mishpacha was for your grandparents, for my grandparents. For Am Yisrael. They won't... To go into the water was life risk. There's a very good chance you're not coming out. If it's not the water because it's frozen, it's because it's the middle of the night, it's a lake. It doesn't play around, there's no like stairs. The whole thing can break. Rabotai, literally every month, a Bat Israel was willing to sacrifice her life just so her husband, her own husband, can touch her. Now, if a Bat Israel is not married, she can't go to the mikveh. Which means that if a boy touches her, if a man touches her, automatically she's not only violating the rules between her and Hashem, and he's violating the rules between him and Hashem, but now she is looking at her own grandmother, her own great-grandmother, and saying, what a fool you were, that you're willing to risk your life for this mitzvah. You want to risk your life to jump into water that's 40 degrees under zero to be with your husband. She's not even willing to get married. She's not even willing to go to the mikveh. So you see, you understand? This is a different generation. This is a people that actually understood what it means to be close to Hashem. So when a person wants to be close to Hashem, he looks or she looks for every single opportunity to use materialism, to use the material world in a way that's going to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So a woman says, how could I connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu if my husband is the one that's learning all day and I'm home with the kids? I'm home with the kids. He's at the yeshiva. At least he's learning Torah. How can I connect to Hashem if I'm home with the kids? Think about this. If you knew that your kid is Mashiach, you knew for sure he's Mashiach, would you take care of him a little bit better than if you didn't know? Possible. Why? Because he's Mashiach. If you were, let's say, kindergarten teacher. Kindergarten teachers, it sounds like fun, but it's not that much fun. Why? Because as soon as the diapers start getting filled with stuff, and it's not your kid, it's not so much fun to be a kindergarten teacher. Now, if the kindergarten teacher knew, this kid, I'm about to change his little poopies. I'm about to change poopies. It's not my kid. It's somebody else's kid. This smelly stuff. I'm about to change it. But this poopies belongs to the Mashiach. What's she going to do? Shtabach Shimo. She's happy with the... There's a yofi, there's a kira. You should do it all the time, Mashiach. Poop all day for me. Why? Because what happens? One day he grows up, he becomes Mashiach. Hey, Mashiach, who changed your poop? Mashiach! Mashiach, who changed your... You changed the Mashiach. Imagine, you changed the Mashiach's poop. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's funny, but it's not. It's funny, but it's not. Why? Every single kid can be Mashiach. Every kid. Every kid can be Mashiach. Which means, if a woman takes that into consideration, she says, wait a minute, my kid can be Mashiach. How could he be Mashiach if I don't send him to yeshiva? How could he be Mashiach if I let him watch all these garbage cartoons that show people killing each other? How could I let him, how could he be Mashiach if I give him playing cards that have death on the playing card? I saw two kids' playing cards today. Somebody showed me two playing cards today. One of them has two mummies killing each other. Says the fight of the dead people. And the next playing card the kids have that trade among each other is a cemetery full of crosses. Jewish kids are playing with these playing cards. How old are the kids? 6, 7 years old. How is the 6, 7-year-old going to be a holy Mashiach if he's playing with crosses and dead people? How? So a woman that says, my kid can be Mashiach. My kid can be Mashiach. No way. No way I'm going to let him watch TV. No way I'm going to let him play these garbage video games. No way I'm going to let him do all these things that are going to ruin him. Why? My kid can be Mashiach. She connects to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, in a way that's different from everybody else. Why? She's preparing for Mashiach. So this, Rabotai, is a way for a woman to elevate her role in the world. Elevate her role in the world in something that she has to do one way or the other. She has to take care of the kids. Somebody has to, or else don't have them. So the point is that you could get to a very, very high level, regardless of what you do, regardless of what you have. You can even get to a high level with a pen. Use the pen to write Torah. Everything can be used to get close to Hashem.